A long time ago, when I used to live in Japan, I used to go to this mall on the weekends. It was a couple of train stops away, and it was a big mall in the middle of nowhere. But they had a couple of cool coffee shops, they had a movie theater, and they had a big bookstore. So I would go there usually on Sundays, bring a couple of books, do some journaling in the coffee shops, check out a movie, and then hang out in the bookstore before I came home. The train station was about a 10-15 minute walk from the mall, and the trains ran every 20 minutes. And sometimes I had just missed the train, so I had to wait another 20 minutes to catch the train home. Luckily, right next to the train station was this big electronics store. So while I was waiting for the train, I would go inside the big electronics store and kill time walking around looking at stuff. And about half the time I was doing that, I would end up buying something. Because when you're in a good mood, it feels good to buy things. They've done studies about people that are hungry and go shopping online versus people that are not hungry and go shopping online. And the people that are hungry and go shopping online tend to buy more stuff when they're hungry, which suggests, and the stuff they buy has nothing to do with food, which suggests that deep inside our unconscious, we have this very, very raw, basic, subconscious desire energy that gets translated into very specific desires up on the conscious level surface. A desire for food, a desire for a burrito, a desire for a pair of shoes, sexual desire, which means if you can tap into this deep subconscious desire, you can attach it to anything. This is how advertising works. We see an attractive model, and that sexual desire is translated via this deep subconscious desire to whatever they're selling, a car or a toaster or a hacksaw or whatever. One of the biggest problems in ancient societies before they invented money was barter. Because when you barter without the use of money, you have a problem called the coincidence of wants. If you have a bunch of corn, for example, and you need a pair of shoes, and you don't have a way to use money, or you haven't invented money yet, you have to find somebody that not only wants corn, but also has a pair of shoes, so you can make a trade. But as soon as they invented money, this significantly increased economic activity. Because now you can take your corn, trade it for the money, and then use the money to buy what you want. And once people figured out how to do this, and they did this in all kinds of different ways throughout history, they used all kinds of different things for this money. Once people figured out how to use money to buy things, to sell things, that exploded economic activity. And that's essentially how the economy works today. You have somebody, they go out into the marketplace, they sell their skills, they sell the results of their skills, they get paid money, they take that money and they buy what they want. It's still a trade. You're still trading your skills for somebody else's skills, or the results of your skills, the fruits of your labor for the fruits of somebody else's labor, but there's this money in between. And the more you can provide skills to the marketplace, the more value you can provide to the marketplace, the more money you'll get in exchange, and the more stuff you can buy. And this is essentially the very basic definition of a large society. Everybody participating in the market economy, everybody trying to sell their skills, everybody spending their entire lives trying to increase your skills. Because the more you increase your skills, the more you increase the value of your skills, the more money you can get and the more stuff you can get. And everybody's doing this. This is why people have been inventing stuff since the dawn of time, to compete, to see who can be the best at satisfying the needs of other people first, so you can satisfy your own needs later. And this is exactly what Zig Ziglar said, the old school pots and pans sales guru. The more you help other people get what they want, the more you can get what you want. Or you can get whatever you want if you're first willing to help other people get what they want first. The hardest part of a sales conversation is the close. You elicit the desires from the customer, you build the value of the product, and then you say, well, you should buy this. And they say, I got to think about it. Or, I got to check with my wife. Or, yeah, I kind of want to shop around some more. The problem with these objections is none of them are true. All objections are really the same objection. Whenever we trade something, whenever we buy something, we will only do so if what we're getting we value subjectively higher than what we're giving. No matter if it's buying something for money or trading a bag of chips for a bag of cookies on the playground. We will only make a trade if what we're giving is less valuable in our mind based on our subjective mindset than what we're getting. You'll only give somebody a bag of chips and receive a bag of cookies if you want the cookies more than you want the chips. So when they say, I need to think about it, what they really mean is the value of the thing I might receive in exchange for the money you're asking me to pay is less valuable than the money I'm asking you to pay. So that the balance is off kilter. If the thing is more valuable than the money, this is when we love to buy things, because the money has a certain value, the thing has a certain value, but we want the thing more than the money. This is why it feels good, because the difference is represented by our good feelings. The bigger this is, the better we feel buying something. If you're really, really hungry and you see your favorite burrito shop and you buy a carne asada burrito for $5, that's going to feel like a fantastic purchase, because the $5 has a certain value in your mind, but the burrito has a huge value in your mind because you're so hungry, and you make the trade and you feel fantastic. So there's two ways to handle this common objection. First is to understand that this is just about trade. They're valuing this thing, they're valuing this thing. If the value is high enough, they'll make the trade, but if it's the other way around, they won't make the trade. So you can change this two ways. You can increase the value of the thing you're trying to sell, which is what most people try to do, or you can decrease the value of the money that you're asking them to pay for the thing. The same amount of dollars, but the actual subjective value they have for the same amount of dollars, you can decrease. How do you do this? Well, imagine you only have $100, and for you, making $100 is very, very difficult. You'll be much less likely to buy something for $100 because $100 is very, very scarce and therefore very, very valuable. On the other hand, imagine if making $100 is easy for you. You can make $100 all day long. So $100 in your mind is very, very abundant and therefore less valuable. So the trade is a lot easier. So instead of building up the value of the product, instead decrease the subjective value of that same amount of dollars you're asking in exchange for the product. How do you do this? Well, remember, when we make money, when we think about making money, we subconsciously understand that it's about providing value to the marketplace, getting money, and then buying stuff. The more we feel confident providing value to the marketplace, the more likely we'll buy things. If we feel an abundance of confidence that we can make all kinds of money, we'll buy all kinds of stuff. So you build up their confidence in making money, and you do this by finding situations in their past, bringing out these memories by asking them about their most successful decisions, their most successful achievements, whenever they've received recognition for something. This will build up their subconscious money-making confidence that they can provide for other people and get their own needs met. This is kind of the same as when you're living in a boom economy. When the economy is booming, everybody has a big confidence about their future, so everybody spends more money. But if the economy sucks, nobody feels confident about their future, and nobody's willing to spend money to buy things. So you can build up their own personal confidence by asking questions. What's your greatest success? What are some of the best decisions you've ever made? What are some of your greatest accomplishments? And then ask questions to build out those memories, and you'll tilt the scales in your favor. And that will pre-frame objections before they come up, and that will make them have a very, very enjoyable buying experience, where the value of the thing is up here and the value of the money you're asking them to pay based on how you build up their imaginations is much lower, and the trade will seem fantastic. This is a fantastic way to sell a lot of stuff to a lot of people, because you will put people in a good mood. And the better mood we're in, the more we enjoy buying things. Probably the most surprising impulse buy I ever made was I was downtown one night, and there's downtown down here. There's this big, huge shopping mall, a big 5-story shopping mall, and the taxi stands were over here. And normally I would walk around or underneath a tunnel to get to the taxi stand, but that particular night I had to use a restroom. So my strategy or my plan was to walk through the mall, find a restroom, walk out the other side, and take the taxi home. But on my way between the bathroom and the exit door, I bought an espresso machine because I was in such a good mood because I had a good Friday night. I thought, hey, espresso, why don't I buy some espresso machine? And that's when I started to drink espresso. But the bottom line is, when you put people in a good mood, they will be much more willing to buy things. And you can do that by asking questions and highlighting their best decisions, their greatest accomplishments, the things they're most proud of doing. And that will put them in a fantastic buying mood, and you can sell anything to anybody. And it's not just about sales. It's about asking their time and effort in exchange for your time and effort. Everything is a trade. And so long as you build up the value of what they're getting and you decrease the value by increasing the abundance of what you're asking them to pay, the trade will seem very, very no-brainer in their mind, and it will seem like a fantastic thing to do. So try this and see how well it works. Build up the value of the thing you're asking them to do and decrease the value of your asking what you want in exchange. And that will make everything easier. To learn more about how to do this, check out the links below. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and comment, and I'll see you next time.